Hey there, A's Day fans. Happy Monday. Hope you're all having a wonderful start to your week and enjoyed all of the A's baseball from this weekend. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Today is Monday, April 27th. We got a good show for you as we will kick off today's show discussing how the A's went on down to Texas to wrangle the Rangers, taking 2 out of 3, completing a winning 4-2 ALS road trip as they recoup on their much-deserved off day before resuming action tomorrow night, which will take us to the back half of today's show as we preview the A's next opponent, kicking off a 3-game set against the Kansas City Royals as we discuss the matchups, game times, predictions, all of that A's Day usual stuff. Earlier today, we also learned that Carlos Cortes was named the American League Player of the Year. We will discuss how he performed over this past week and give him his kudos as he is sizzling in the middle of the A's order. Lots of exciting A's news to talk about, and this team is rolling as at the time of recording heading into tomorrow's action, the A's sit atop sole possession of the American League West. Get excited, A's Day fans and A's fans everywhere. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right there, A's Day fans. Thank you again for tuning in to this Monday edition of our show, or whenever you're listening to us here. We appreciate you stopping by to hear our thoughts on athletics baseball. Before diving into today's show, just want to give you all a friendly reminder of how you can follow along with us outside of our normal podcast shows on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter at A's Day Baseball. And be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel to view video editions of our podcast episodes, as well as A's player interviews and other A's baseball destination content experiences that we have and will continue to post for your viewing pleasure. And to become an official subscriber of A's Day, be sure to support us on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be able to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. All right, let's jump right in and get to our 3-game series recap as the A's were down in Texas taking on the Rangers. Let's get right to Friday night in Arlington and hope you all enjoyed a happy Sevy Day as we would kick off a 3-game set at Globe Life Field. Luis Severino getting the ball for the A's would be going up against Nathan Eovaldi. In the first inning, the A's would kick this one off in exciting fashion. How about in a matter of 7 pitches, Nick Kurtz, Carlos Cortes, and Tyler Soderstrom go back to back with 3 solo home runs. A's are off running early in this one. It's 3-0. Rangers would eventually get on the board in the 4th after some scoreless frames were exchanged via a Josh Young RBI ground rule double. It's now 3-1 A's. In the 5th, the A's would respond in a big way. Take a bow, Carlos Cortes, one of the best stories in baseball, off to a terrific start to the year. He hits another home run this time, a 3-run shot, his 2nd of the game, his 4th on the season, the first multi-homer game of his MLB career, as now the A's move ahead 6-1. From there, Sevy did an excellent job keeping the Rangers off the board and taking his start into the 7th. Sevy would go 6 2/3 innings, allowing 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. In the 9th, A's still up 6-1. Zach Geloff would deliver a 2-run home run, his first of the year, to move the lead to 8-1. For the A's, it would go Sevy to Hogan Harris to Justin Sterner to Luis Medina. Ball game over. A's win 8-1 and take Game 1 of the 3-game set. Sevy was absolutely brilliant in this one. Continues to deliver on the road. And that has not been an issue during his A's tenure and continues to not be heading into 2026. And last year he had a 6 ERA at home, but a 3 ERA on the road. So it's good to know that Severino continues to repeat his road success. It would be nice to see him take some of that road success into his preparation for pitching at home at Sutter Health Park, who it seems like has turned into a personal house of horrors. While he has pitched better over the course of innings worked at Sutter Health this year, when he has given up runs, it has come in bunches and typically early on in his start. So perhaps he can make adjustment, but that'll be for a discussion for another day. Because today we're going to talk about how strong of a start Luis Severino provided today. He was given a lead early. The A's offense went to work and added on as Severino continued to put up zeros. Only got pumped for the 1 run via the ground rule double by Young. But besides that, Severino was great. Worked into the 7th inning, taking stress off of the bullpen, keeping them fresh. And this is a solid team collective victory. It's a winning formula that is repeatable and can lead to a lot of short and long-term success. Carlos Cortes, the first multi-home run game of his career. Congrats. He's off to a sizzling start at the plate. It just has, when he steps into the batter's box, he brings that air of confidence. Just feels like every time he's in there, something good is going to happen. And that's a feeling that you love as a fan, but I'm sure he's got to be feeling that way in the box personally. And that's got to be an amazing feeling, a tremendous feeling, considering how hard it is to hit, especially against the best pitching in the world in Major League Baseball. So the fact that Cortes seems to be working his way into regular at-bats, which is much deserved and needs to happen because he continues to be a consistent force, and you're going to hear his name more throughout this series. This was the most collective team win and most convincing win of the season. You had a little bit of everything in this one. You had the electrifying power displayed to kick off this game. In the first 7 pitches, the A's offense set the tone of how this game was going to go. Nick Kurtz, Carlos Cortes, and Tyler Soderstrom, they go back to back to back. Before you can blink, it's 3-0. And it just felt like the air was taking out of the building. The Rangers fans grew quiet, and it just felt like the A's were in control from there. Severino was able to calm his nerves and be able to work from that with that lead before he even threw a pitch in this one. That's always got to be a comforting feeling for a starting pitcher, to have immediate run support before you even toe the rubber, allowing you to work into your start, get a feel for the mound, get a feel for working through that order 1, 2, 3, however many times, however long you can work into that game. It just takes a little bit of stress off of you where you can go out and pitch, as compared to feeling with limited run support, you have to be a little bit more fine and a little bit more perfect, leaving you more susceptible to missing in more hitter-friendly zones due to that unnecessary stress. So it's good that the A's, with the offense, get off and running. They get strong starting pitching, and they continue to play solid defense as they still have the best fielding percentage in baseball and have committed the least amount of errors. Sounds like all of the pieces coming together in a winning championship formula. And they did it in convincing fashion in this one, setting the tone in the series. An 8-1 victory. Great way to start down in Texas, and a great way to roll along the positive momentum in this AL West road trip. Strong start in Texas. Now an opportunity to win another series and keep the road trip rolling along the following day, as we had a repeat match, this time in Arlington, of the lefty duel. Jeffrey Springs would be getting the ball for the A's, going up against the left-hander from the Texas Rangers, Mackenzie Gore. The A's would get the scoring started in the second, as Darrell Hernandez would deliver an RBI single, bringing home Jacob Wilson to grab the early 1-0 lead. They would add on in the third, as recently called up Colby Thomas would come through with an RBI single, and then 2 batters later, Jacob Wilson would be home via a sacrifice fly to grow the lead to 3-0. To the bottom half we go. The Rangers would respond with a sacrifice fly from Brandon Nimmo and an RBI single by Corey Seager to cut the deficit to 3-2. In the sixth, as the A's are clinging to a 3-2 lead, the game would turn as Josh Young smashed a 2-run home run off Jeffrey Springs to claim the 4-3 lead. Springs would go on to finish the 6th, but that would spell the end of his night. Springs went 6 innings in this one, allowing 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. From there, the A's only had one opportunity with the runners in scoring position the rest of the way via a pinch hit double by Carlos Cortes in the 7th, but he was left stranded and the offense couldn't generate anything late from there. Ball game over. Rangers win this one 4-3 and tie the series up 1-1. Tough one. Definitely felt like a game the A's had every opportunity to win. They even built up the early 3-0 lead. But you can kind of sense when they didn't have that shutdown inning after going up by 3 with the immediate response from the Rangers putting up 2, getting 2 back right away. You just kind of had that feeling that the Rangers were going to be in striking distance throughout the remainder of this game and that it was kind of a matter of time from there. But the A's had plenty of opportunities to put this game away at different points in this game, but just couldn't cash in with runners in scoring position as they only went 2 for 8, and those 2 came rather early in this ball game. And the fact that following from the 7th inning on, they were only able to generate 1 runner into scoring position thanks to Cortes' pinch hit double, who came off the bench due to the left-hander starting for the Rangers. Once the righty came in, Cortes was summoned and he delivered as his hot hitting would continue, attempting to try to at least start a rally to tie this thing, but nevertheless they couldn't cash through. Tough walk to strikeout ratio as well. They only generated 3 walks as compared to striking out 10 times. Not ideal, but they have had better ratios in this area as of late, which is being seen to better outcomes consistently. So it was kind of just left you with that feeling where Jeffrey Springs, too, was, in my opinion, he was pretty good in this one. And I know the pitching line doesn't look like it, but honestly, he made one really bad pitch in this start, and you take that one away. Over those 6 innings of work, he only gave up the 2 runs. Obviously, the 2-run home run was the difference in this game, but I don't feel like it was a terrible start from Springs in any fashion. Even with giving up 4 runs in 6 innings, that's still aligned with the potency of this A's offense, that they do have the talent up and down the board to be able to overcome. They weren't in this one, but typically I feel like, especially if this game is played at Sutter Health, that A's offense may be humming a little bit more and be able to push through and overcome 4 runs by the starter, which again, Springs, after his rather dominant start, is coming back down a little bit to earth. That is normal regression as the season rolls along a little bit. As opposing hitters get more film on you, the hitters are making adjustments to what Springs is bringing at them now. It does appear that Springs is going to have to adjust his plan of attack just a little bit to get back to that level of dominance that we saw early on in 2026. Not that he hasn't been good, but how it really started is a better version of what we've seen over the last 2 to 3 starts from Springs. But Young proved to be the difference in this one. He hits the 2-run homer in the 6th, and they cling to that 1-run victory. Frustrating one, but right there in striking distance. As painful as Saturday was, still an opportunity at hand to win the series on Sunday and clinch a 6-game winning road trip, as JT Ginn would be getting the ball for the A's going up against Kumar Rocker. Good news to start the day. Brent Rooker is off the injured list and is back in the lineup. Welcome back, Rook. His return will make this lineup that much better. In response, Andy Ibanez was designated for assignment. In his first at-bat back, Rooker worked a walk and would end up running the bases right away, as the hot hitting from Carlos Cortes would continue, as he delivers a 2-run triple, bringing home Rooker and Soderstrom to give the A's the early 2-0 lead. JT Ginn was cruising along, scattering 3 hits over 3 1/3 innings of work before exiting this game due to right shoulder soreness. We will discuss and have more details further a little bit later on. On would come Joel Kuhnel, who would get the final out of the 4th inning. And then, in a surprise appearance, Jacob Lopez would come out of the bullpen, and after a scoreless 5th, he would run into some trouble in the 6th. Josh Young ripped a leadoff double. Evan Carter laid down a sacrifice bunt to move Young to 3rd. However, Lopez in the process went to throw it to 1st to get Carter out. but the throw was slightly up the line and out of Cortes' reach at first, allowing Carter to advance to second on the error and Young to come around to score. It's now 2-1. After a Jake Berger walk, manager Mark Kotze wasn't going to hesitate here and calls on Justin Sterner. Josh Smith would welcome Sterner into the game by getting on via a perfectly executed bunt single where no one could get to it in time. Now, it's bases loaded for the Rangers, nobody out. A's are clinging to a 2-1 lead. And how about Justin Sterner bucking up in crunch time, getting Danny Jansen to strike out swinging, Sam Haggerty to strike out swinging, and then Brandon Nimmo lined out to center to preserve the 2-1 lead. What a performance from Justin Sterner. It certainly won't go unnoticed from us here at A's Day. And from there, Hogan Harris pitched a clean seventh before on would come Jack Perkins in the eighth, continuing to display his effectiveness as a multi-inning back-end high-leverage reliever. It went Ginn to Kunal to Lopez to Sterner to Harris to Perkins, who locks down his second save of the year. Ball game over. A's win 2-1 and take 2 out of 3 from the Texas Rangers, completing a 4-2 road trip. In the process, they improved to 15-13 in the season and leave Texas in sole possession of first place in the American League West as they enjoy their off day today and prep for a series against the Kansas City Royals kicking off in West Sacramento tomorrow night. Lots of grit and heart on full display in the series. And hats off to the A's. They continue to have challenges thrown their way, and they respond in a major way. And this team is showing a level of growth and maturity that I felt was lacking in terms of experience at times last year, where they are not wilting in the face of adversity. They are not, when faced with dire situations, not going to back away from the fight, and they're going to go down with their best effort. And Justin Sterner, what he did in that situation, bases loaded, I believe it was in the sixth inning, bases loaded, nobody out, 1-run lead, to come out of that unscathed, striking out 2 batters, coming at those hitters with your best, saying, come out here and beat me, not allowing any free passes, not allowing any, without having any wiggle room, and the quality contact that he allows to the left-handed hitter Nimmo was due to Sterner knowing that he had a little bit more wiggle room to attack with 2 outs, knowing that his defense was going to be behind him to bail him out. And that's what happened. But that was such a clutch situation. Couldn't believe how it was unfolding. Last year, I felt like we're talking about how close the A's come to winning that series and lose a disappointing 4 or 5-2 outcome. But this year is different so far. The bullpen continues to answer the bell. Very similar by this bullpen by committee, how they responded in the second half last year. Seems like a lot of guys are growing confidence, establishing their roles, and just getting outs when this team needs it, when they're called upon, whenever they're called upon. I've been beyond impressed with how this bullpen has developed. Each guy continues to improve upon their performance from before. And I can't even give enough kudos to the job Sterner did in this one. The magician act, getting out of that tight jam. Wow. I mean, that really set the tone there and was the difference in the A's winning or losing this series, in my humble opinion. Because I feel if even the Rangers cash in with a couple there, maybe they have an insurance run a little bit later on. It felt like Rocker and the Rangers pitching staff really stymied this A's offense in the back half of this one. That opportunities were going to be coming at a premium, that if they went down 2 or 3 runs, it was going to really spell trouble for this A's offense if they needed to come from behind. But it was that type of pitching and defense type game where, yes, the A's technically do make an error in this one, but it was from Jacob Lopez. And they still, with that was only their 6th error committed on the year, which is still the least amount, and they boast the best fielding percentage of all of baseball. So as a collective, they are taking care of the baseball, and it is such a huge improvement from how this team was defensively last year. So lots to like there from this team's effort. Unfortunately, JT Ginn gets hurt in this one. We'll talk about him in a moment or so. Clutch Sterner, can't get enough of him. And how about Carlos Cortes? He's hitting .538 over his last 7 games. He had a big 2-run triple in this one, providing the offense for the A's, and was the offensive difference for them winning this series as well. Let's get to our 3 stars. Lots of team contributors up and down the lineup. Not perhaps all throughout the series, but I think at different moments in the series, many players stepped up and did their part in securing the series victory in Texas. So we're going to start with our 3rd star, and this guy pitched like the ace the A's have been counting on. We're going to give it to Luis Severino. I felt him, along with the 3 home runs by the A's in that first inning to kick things off, really set the tone that the A's were continuing to be here for business and were on a mission to win this series. And they do so in convincing fashion on Friday night with the big power display, but also Severino, his longest start of the season to date, and perhaps his best start of the season to date. He steps up in a big way on the road once again in an important AL West matchup. He goes 6 2/3 innings once again, allowing 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. He gets A's Day 3rd star of the series. For the 2nd star, we are going to give it to Justin Sterner, solely for his clutch performance yesterday. And not solely for, it was a pivotal moment, not only in that game, but in my opinion, on who was going to win or lose this series. As in the 6th inning, the A's are clinging to a 2-1 lead. He is in there with bases loaded, nobody out, and he goes on to strike out the next 2 hitters before getting Brandon Nimmo to line out to center field to preserve the 2-1 lead. They get out of that almost near impossible situation without giving up at least even a run. They give up nothing. They hold on to the 2-1 lead throughout that inning and for the remainder of the game. And because they got out of that moment and kept momentum on their side, they win Game 3 by 1 run, and they hold on to take 2 out of 3 to win the 3-game series and clinch a winning road trip, which they go 4-2 by winning 2 out of 3 up in Seattle, as well as 2 out of 3 down in Texas. Justin Sterner, you are A's Day 2nd star. Congratulations. And I think it goes without saying, and I think it's kind of obvious at this point, that you've heard this name mentioned on this show multiple times today. The A's Day 1st star of this series, quite obvious, Carlos Cortes. He went 6 for 9 in the series with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, a double, and a triple. He improves in 22 games to batting .377 on the year with 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, a 1.121 OPS. Absolute clutch performer, and someone that has such a humble attitude on his spot in Major League Baseball. We were refreshed by our conversation in the dugout prior to an A's home game last year, where we were really fortunate to get to know Cortez's upbringings a little bit, and you could tell how much it means to get an opportunity to show what he can do at this level. But it has been such a sight to see his transformation from being a role player on this club to now being more than deserving to getting everyday at-bats. He is a key cog in the middle of this A's lineup. He's spraying the ball all over the field. He's playing solid defense in the corners when called upon. He has provided a little bit of everything for this team. And he's come through in run-scoring situations. And in Game 3, he was the sole offense coming through with that 2-run triple. He hits 2 home runs in Game 1 and then comes through with that pinch hit double in Game 2. It wasn't a losing effort, but was an attempt for the A's to rally from that 1-run deficit. So Cortes had his fingerprints all over this series. Hats off to him. He gets the A's Day 1st star of this series, and he's such a joy to watch. Again, he gives me overwhelming confidence every time he steps into the batter's box. It feels more surprising when he makes an out than not, that it feels like something really good is going to happen when he steps in and makes contact with the ball. So congrats to the A's. They improved, like we mentioned, to 15-13. They're in first place in the AL West, heading into their 3-game set tomorrow as they take on the Kansas City Royals. And we're going to get to our Royals preview in a few moments here, but we also do have a couple of news topics of note in A's Nation. So we're going to start with the low point and then transition to some happy news, which we learned earlier today. So, like we mentioned during the Game 3 recap, JT Ginn, who was yesterday's starter, was cruising along on Sunday against the Rangers at Globe Life Field, left the game after facing two batters in the fourth inning with what the club is calling right arm soreness. Manager Mark Cortes said after the Athletics 2-1 victory that Ginn had some form of a stinger in the shoulder area on his final pitch. They didn't want to risk anything further, so they had to take him out. Orthopedically, from the Rangers side, it came and saw him. He's got good strength in the arm, good range of motion. They're going to take it slow, take 24 hours, and then move forward with seeing how he can play catch. So I guess we're going to have more of an update on that at some point tomorrow afternoon. Ginn had been showing promise in his 3 starts and being promoted from the bullpen on April 10th, posting a 3.07 ERA over 14 2/3 innings of work during that span. He lowered his overall season ERA to 3.24 with 3 1/3 innings of scoreless baseball yesterday, scattering 3 hits, walking 1, and striking out 2 before his early departure. In the 3rd inning, Ginn recorded a flyout before hitting Evan Carter on the elbow with a fastball that sailed up and in. Ginn threw 2 pitches to the next hitter, Jake Berger, with Carter stealing on the second pitch, a ball well below in the zone. After that, a brief meeting on the mound with teammates and staff ensued, and Ginn from there walked to the dugout. So we're hoping that it's nothing more than perhaps missing one turn through the order in terms of starters, but you never know how it all shakes out, especially with arm issues. Those can be tricky, and guys respond to that in different ways. So be sure to tune in to A's Cast tomorrow, the pregame show, and be sure to follow along with us here at A's Day. We'll provide an update as soon as we hear any updates on Ginn's health. I'm sure it does feel like he will play catch at some part of their batting practice session tomorrow, and then perhaps during pregame media, there will be an update on how Ginn's arm has responded to that, and maybe from there, the A's will have more of a contingency plan. But until then, it's all speculation, and we're going to assume that Ginn may miss one turn through the order, just with it being so early on in the year. You don't want to risk going back to him so soon that it aggravates the injury and then you lose him for a longer period of time. So if that is the case, that he does get shelved for a week or two, here are some potential fill-ins. Luis Morales, who did start the season in the rotation, and in his 3 starts since being optioned to AAA, hasn't fared well. He's lasted just 12 1/3 innings, giving up 18 hits and walking 9, which has led to an 8.76 ERA with a 2.19 whip. The issues that landed him in Vegas are still plaguing him, unfortunately. Mason Barnett is another option who was off to a nice start this season, earning him a call-up to eat some innings if needed last weekend. He's back in Vegas, and in his 1 start since his option, he went 5 scoreless innings, giving up just 1 hit and 2 walks while striking out 7. The one big caveat here would be that he'd be unable to come up unless Ginn lands on the IL, as teams have to wait for 15 days to call a player back up to the majors once they've been optioned. The only way around that is in the case of an injury. Joey Estes has been working on a cutter, and his velocity has been up a little bit since the last time A's fans saw him, but he's also struggling with free passes this month, issuing 12 and 16 innings of work. In April, he holds a 7.88 ERA with a 3.28 batting average against and a 2.06 whip, so this wouldn't be the time for a promotion, it would appear. The only other arm in AAA that could work is Braden Nett, who made his season debut this past Saturday. He tossed 3 2/3 innings of scoreless work, giving up just 1 hit and walking 1 while striking out 5. It was also his first start in AAA, so he's not likely to get the call just yet. The one other option here could be to bring up a relief pitcher from the minors and then slot Jack Perkins into the rotation. However, given how dominant Perkins has been in the bullpen over this past week, this may not be the best course of action. He's serving extremely well as a multi-inning closer and locking down the late innings for the A's. So it'll be very interesting and just an area to monitor. We want to wish JT Ginn a healthy recovery from injury. Hopefully you're feeling significantly better already today and that the exit from your past start was more of a precaution as compared to anything that will be worrisome over the long haul. So hopefully we just see Ginn make his next start. But whatever the course of action is, we hope we see him for the long term because he also has been bringing a calming presence on the mound, that knowing that he wants the ball every fifth day and he's going to keep the opposition off the board more consistently the more he gets rolling along and give his team every opportunity to win on his start day. So looking forward to seeing Ginn back on the bump as soon as possible. And now let's move to the more positive sign or the positive news topic. And this is the latest development as we just learned this a short while ago, just a few hours ago, as Carlos Cortes was named AL Player of the Week. He wins his first career award, marking the first AL Player of the Week award for the Athletics since Nick Kurtz won back-to-back awards on July 21st and July 28th last season. It is the first recognition for an A's outfielder since Lawrence Butler won on September 3rd, 2024. The 28-year-old Cortes hit .542, which was good for 13 for 24, with 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 runs scored, a 1.083 slugging percentage, and a .542 on-base percentage across 6 contests. The Orlando, Florida native led the majors in hits, ranked second in slugging, total bases with 26, and batting average ranked third in OPS at 1.625, and ranked fifth in on-base percentage. The University of South Carolina alum launched a pair of homers off of Texas's right-handed pitcher Nathan Eovaldi on Friday night, connecting on a solo blast in the first, followed by a 3-run shot in the fifth. It was his second career multi-career homer. Upon further review, do remember his multi-homer game on September 12th. Some scratch that from earlier this episode. We apologize. However, his 4 RBIs in this game set a new game high for Cortes. The third-round selection in the 2018 draft by the Mets racked up a career-high 4 hits on Monday at Seattle, including a home run in the 4th inning. Overall, he is riding a 7-game hitting streak, which includes 4 multi-hit games, adding a 3-hit performance on Sunday at Texas with his 2-run triple in the 1st inning, providing all of the offense for the A's in a 2-1 win. Cortes, who appeared with Team Puerto Rico in the 2026 World Baseball Classic, has just 4 strikeouts in 67 plate appearances this season. He is the first A's player since Carney Lansford in 1992 to have 4 fewer strikeouts and a batting average of at least .350 across his first 22 games of a season. Cortes' 6% strikeout rate is the second lowest among hitters with at least 50 plate appearances this season, trailing only Luis Arias from San Francisco, who is at 3.5%. So congrats to Carlos Cortes. He is perhaps the easiest guy in the league to root for. Such humbling beginnings. He's a grinder. He's been looking for his footing at the major league level. And after the long climb to the mountaintop, the best is yet to come. Cortes looks locked in. He gets honored for his efforts over this week. And looking forward to seeing his hot hitting head home to West Sacramento. But congrats to Cortes to winning the award for the first time. He is someone that provides a lot of versatility with the left-handed bat. He can hit the ball with authority to all fields and has coming in as well as anybody on the team, but throughout the American League with runners in scoring position, and cannot congratulate Cortes enough. Definitely someone that provides all the grit, heart, and hustle that you would want on your club, and glad it's all working out in the early onset for Cortes. Looking forward to seeing him continued his long-term success in the middle of this A's order. This episode is brought to you by Visit Mesa. Welcome to Mesa, Arizona, a destination for every season. Experience a destination where adventure, culture, and culinary experiences are limitless. As the gateway to the stunning Sonoran Desert and Tonto National Forest, Mesa invites you to explore its scenic waterways, kayak through winding canyons, or paddleboard along the Salt River. For a one-of-a-kind desert adventure, ride the waves at Revel Surf at Cannon Beach, the country's first surf park of its kind. Downtown Mesa is a vibrant hub, home to the Mesa Arts Center, public art, award-winning breweries, and local shops. Food lovers can explore the fresh foodie trail and the diverse flavors of Mesa's Asian district. Sports fans can experience MLB spring training with the Athletics and Chicago Cubs, or visit one of North America's largest youth sports complexes. As the world's first autism-certified city, Mesa is dedicated to accessibility and inclusivity for all visitors. Now, we head to the back half of today's show as we take a look at what's up next on the docket following the well-deserved off day for the Green and Gold after a winning 6-game road trip. The Kansas City Royals are in town for 3 starting tomorrow night as we get to know what this Royals team has been up to in 2026. The Royals come in with a record of 11-17, led by manager Matt Quatraro. In their last series, they are rolling of late. They did complete a 3-game sweep of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, 6-3, 12-1, before a thrilling 11-9 comeback walk-off victory yesterday for the Royals to complete the sweep. Offensively, they're batting .239 as a team for a batting average, which is 15th in baseball. They've hit 27 home runs, which is tied for 20th. They've scored 117 runs, which is tied for 23rd. And they've hit to a 707 OPS, which is 16th. They've walked 104 times, which is 16th. And they've struck out 236 times, which is the 13th most. And they've stolen 19 bases, which is tied for 15th with the Athletics for the 15th most in the league. And on the mound, they've been pitching it to a 4.62 ERA, which is 25th in baseball. They've allowed 123 walks, which is the 5th most. They've struck out 241 batters, which was 14th. They've pitched to a 1.40 whip, which is 23rd. And they've allowed 35 home runs, which is also 23rd, or the 7th most in baseball. And defensively, they've been the second best team in baseball behind the A's. They've committed 7 errors and fielded it at a .993 fielding percentage, both the second best in all of baseball. The Royals, here's how they project with their starting lineup. They will be led off, depending on the health and status, typically by Michael Garcia at third base. If not, Nick Lofton has been filling in there as well. Batting second, the shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. Batting third, the first baseman, Vinny the Pasquantino. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Salvador Perez. He will also catch in this series as well. Batting fifth, the catcher, Carter Jensen. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Michael Massey. Batting seventh, in right field, Jack Caglione. Batting eighth, the left fielder, Isaac Collins. And batting ninth, in center field, Kyle Isbell. Now let's take a look at when first pitch is scheduled for each of these games, as well as the probable starting pitching matchups. Tomorrow night, April 28th, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, Chris Bubich will be getting the ball for the Royals going up against Jacob Lopez. Stay tuned if that changes for the A's, as Lopez did appear in Sunday's game. He did only throw 25 pitches, so perhaps they'll treat it as a bullpen day, but if that changes, we'll be sure to provide update on our social media platforms. And then on Wednesday, Game 2 will also be first pitch at 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. Michael Wacha will be getting the ball for the Royals. He'll be paired against right-handed pitcher Aaron Savali. And then Thursday, the third and rubber match of this game will be a day game from West Sacramento at 12:05 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch, as Noah Cameron will be getting the ball for the Royals going up against A's ace Luis Severino. Let's take a look at how these Royals starting pitchers that the A's offense will go up against fare on the season thus far. So let's start as we get to know these starters. Game 1 starter for the Royals, who will be towing the rubber tomorrow night in West Sac. Left-handed pitcher Chris Bubich. On the year thus far, he's made 5 starts, pitching to a 2-1 record with a 4.08 ERA. In 28 and two-thirds innings of work, he's allowed 13 walks, struck out 29 batters, and pitched to a 1.12 whip. In his last start, he got the win against the Orioles. He went 6 innings, allowing 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. On the year thus far, he has averaged 91.4 miles an hour on his fastball, and he works with a 5-pitch mix, a fastball, changeup, sweeper, sinker, and slider. The 28-year-old lefty has established himself as a reliable cerebral starter for the Royals, utilizing an evolved arsenal to overcome past command issues and shoulder injuries. He features a 90 to 94 mile an hour fastball, a refined changeup, and a developing sweeper to stay in the zone. He has started 2026 on sort of a strong note, including winning the home opener in 6 innings of 1-run ball this year. He focuses on staying stacked and keeping his delivery consistent, leading to better command after past struggles. He has shown a high chase rate, indicating success in keeping hitters guessing. As he worked back from a July 2025 left rotator cuff strain, he has adjusted his delivery to be more linear, less closed off, to ensure long-term health, even at the cost of some deception. Now we get to know the Game 2 starter, who will be toeing the rubber on Wednesday for the Royals, right-handed pitcher Michael Wacha. On the year thus far, he's off to a strong start, pitching to a 2-1 record with a 2.51 ERA. In 32 and a third innings pitched, he's allowed 10 walks, struck out 28 batters, and has pitched to a .93 whip. In his last start, he did lose against Baltimore with his worst start of the year, going 5 and a third innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 6 runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. His fastball has averaged 93 miles an hour on the year thus far, and he works with a 6-pitch mix, a fastball, changeup, cutter, sinker, curveball, and slider. Wacha's changeup remains his best pitch. He is maximizing a 4-seam fastball that averages 92 to 93 by pairing it with a strong 34.3 chase rate percentage, which is in the 83rd percentile according to Baseball Savant. His fastball velocity does rank in the lower third of the league at the 35th percentile, showing his success is built on command rather than pure speed. He is pitching 47.1% of his pitches in the zone and utilizing his 6'6 frame to create tough angles. Here are 2 reasons why the beginning of Wacha's 14th Major League season has been his best yet. He has hitters guessing. When you possess 6 pitches like Wacha does, you can make life tough on opposing hitters who aren't sure what's going to come out of his hand next. Judging by some metrics, Wacha is doing a good job making that confusion work to his benefit. Hitters should want to attack pitches in the zone, but against the Royals' veteran righty, their in-zone swing rate is 61.2%, far less than his rate last year at 70%, and below his previous career low of 65.9%, set in 2013 and 2023. Meanwhile, hitters are swinging out of the zone more than they have in any season versus Wacha. His 34.6% chase rate ranks, like we mentioned, in the 83rd percentile, and is a 6-point jump from his 2025 chase rate of 28.3. All that chase helps create more whiffs, and Wacha's whiff rate has also taken a significant leap, up 8 points from last year, 21.3%, to now 29.5%. And the other reason, he's working from ahead hitters consistently. Wacha pounded the strike zone in his most recent start prior to the Orioles, delivering 63 of his 88 pitches for strikes, including 17 in a row to start the game. He delivered a first-pitch strike in that game to 20 of the 28 hitters he faced, which is right in line with a 70.3% rate for the year. That's tied for the 5th highest strike rate among qualified pitchers, and when Wacha can get ahead and really start utilizing his wide arsenal, he can flummox opposing hitters who are slashing 147, 237 on base, and 176 slug against him after falling behind 0-1 in the count. In those 34 at-bats, hitters have mustered just 1 extra base hit and have ended up striking out 15 times. And let's get to know the Royals' 3rd game starter who will be pitching the daytime rubber match in this 3-game set. Left-handed pitcher Noah Cameron. He's made 5 starts this year, pitching to a 2-1 record with a 5.13 ERA. In 26 and a third innings pitched, he's struck out 23 batters, and he's pitched to a 1.52 whip. In his last start, he beat the Angels. He went 6 and a third innings, allowed 8 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. His fastball thus far this year has averaged 91.8 miles an hour, and he works with a 5-pitch mix, a fastball, changeup, cutter, curveball, and slider. He builds upon his elite command and control, a low walk rate, approximately 7% in the minors and majors, with the ability to locate pitches in any count. His changeup and curveball are high-value tools, particularly for inducing soft contact from right-handed hitters, and he has shown the ability to handle a full starter's workload, logging 138 and a third innings of work in 2025. His fastball, while deceptive, his average velocity of 92 to 93, requires high-level command to avoid being homer-prone. That could be a tough trend for Cameron in Sutter Health Park this week. Opponents will have more film on his changeup-heavy approach, and Cameron will need to navigate and continue to make adjustments of his own to be able to build upon a strong start to his career last year. As for the A's history in terms of their hitters against the Royals starters, there isn't a ton here. Chris Bubich in his past has only faced Rooker and Wynn's lifetime. Rooker's 0 for 5, Wynn's 1 for 6. Austin Wynn's backup catcher, of course. Michael Wacha in the past, Shea Langoliers is 2 for 3. Brent Rooker's 2 for 6 with a double. Austin Wynn's is 3 for 7 with a home run, and Lawrence Butler is 2 for 5 lifetime. And then against Noah Cameron, Brent Rooker is 2 for 3 with a double. Lawrence Butler is 2 for 5 with a double and 2 walks. Lawrence Butler is 2 for 5 in the double. Brent Rooker is 2 for 3 with 2 walks. And Tyler Soderstrom is 1 for 3 lifetime with a double. We are going to make our predictions now. And we do believe we are going to start with our home run prediction. And we are going to take someone that I think has a flair for homering against his past team. But I think his body is going to be moving in a refreshed way, that he's going to play to the benefits of Sutter Health Park, and he's going to get into one in this series and get his season going. The A's were treated to the return of Brent Rooker from the injured list yesterday. He was on base twice, and I think it was such a nice, refreshing presence to see Rook at the top of the order once again. As he continues to get his feet resettled into this season, I do believe for our home run prediction, we are going to take Brent Rooker to homer at least once in this series. Looking forward to seeing Rook back in the lineup regularly. It's been such a joy to see, and we'll look to see how his contributions look to aid the A's in continuing their positive momentum forward at the top of the AL West. And we are going to predict this 3-game series that the A's are going to continue to roll. And we do believe that they will take this series also 2 out of 3. We do believe that they will win tomorrow 5-3 before losing the game 2 to Michael Wacha 4-1, before they come storming back offensively in a big way for the day rubber match on Thursday. I do believe they'll win 7-4 to secure the series victory and move on to their weekend home series. So looking forward to seeing the A's really continue riding this momentum. They seem so strong on the road. Looking forward to them putting more collective team efforts at home in a big way. The Royals, while they are coming off a strong 3-game sweep of the Angels, they were reeling before that. The A's, show me what you're made of. They have another opportunity to take care of a team at home that they are just flat out better than. Do your job, and let's have a happy pod on Friday. And with that brings us to the conclusion of another edition of A's Day. On today's show, we recapped the exciting weekend series in Arlington, as once again the A's won 2 out of 3 against the Texas Rangers to complete a 6-game road trip, 4-2 winning record, and are now back home in West Sacramento, recouping today for their off day before resuming action tomorrow, kicking off their 6-game homestand. And later we discussed the unfortunate injury JT Ginn sustained during his start yesterday. We provided our thoughts on what his timeline for recovery could look like and some potential fill-ins in his hopefully short-term absence. And on a brighter note, we learned earlier today that Carlos Cortes was named the American League Player of the Week for his week-long efforts of strong hitting at the dish. He was spraying balls all over the park. He had .542, once again, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, made a major impact, especially in this Rangers series as well. Had his first 4-hit career game up in Seattle. What a brilliant week from Cortes, and looking forward to see him keep it rolling along. And then for the back half of today's show, we wrapped providing our series preview of their next opponent and their next series kicking off tomorrow night, once again in West Sacramento at Sutter Health Park, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch start, as the A's will welcome in the Kansas City Royals, looking to keep their positive momentum rolling. We'll be back behind the mic for Friday's show to recap how it all goes down for the 3-game set against the Royals, as well as providing a weekend series preview for the next opponent staying in the American League Central as they welcome in the Cleveland Guardians, who are currently in first place in the American League Central. And we'll share any other A's news that we hear or comes across our desk throughout the course of this week. That's all I have for you today. We're going to get back and prep ourselves for another week of A's baseball set to begin tomorrow night. We're excited with where this team is at and looking forward to enjoying and tracking where this team heads to. They're off and running. They're answering a lot of challenges. They're getting a lot of important AL West victories. Now let's see if they take care of a team that, in my opinion, they're supposed to beat. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for stopping by to hearing my thoughts on everything A's baseball. We're looking forward to seeing them stay atop the AL West for as long as they can, hopefully for the remainder of this season. But nevertheless, enjoy it while they are there and enjoy the week of A's baseball. We can't wait to be back behind the mic to talk all about it on Friday's show. Until then, Holy Toledo, let's go A's.